right, let me start with Derrick Rose being dealt here. I know we like to do winners and losers. Just give me the philosophy behind what the Knicks were trying to do or hoping to do here.
Well, there are a couple things. One, the Knicks want to be players in free agency in 2017. So in making this deal, they do get out from under the last 3 years of Robin Lopez's contract. And Lopez has become expendable to the Knicks in large part because the belief is that eventually Kristaps Porzingis is going to be a center. So if you move Porzingis to the 5, and if he's playing 35 minutes per game, you don't really have a need for a player like Lopez, who's a good player, but not someone that's really necessary. So you're trying to get some cap space there. And Derrick Rose, look, is an improvement over Jose Calderon, might help them get into the playoffs this year. It's a worthy flyer to take, Dan, on a player that showed signs he was getting healthy last year, still is not a great shooter, but could potentially be a top 15 point guard once again.
Yeah, but we can't keep saying Derrick Rose is an upgrade over Jose Calderon. I mean,
he's an upgrade. Come on.
99% of the guards are an upgrade over Jose Calderon. If you traded Derrick to get Derrick Rose and you had Jose Calderon in your backcourt, I blame management. So
yeah.
I don't go, boy, it's an upgrade over Jose Calderon. Yes, that's not hard to do. But you also take on Derrick Rose and that salary as well. So I don't give the Knicks credit.
You take on the salary, Dan, you take on the salary, but you're taking it on for 1 year.
Yeah, I get
it. It's a low-risk proposition. The key to the Knicks, and in talking to people over there in the aftermath of the trade, the key to the Knicks is what they do now. I mean, Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony, and Kristaps Porzingis does not get them into the playoffs. It just doesn't. Not in the Eastern Conference, which has gotten better at the bottom half. What they do now is important. They have got to add pieces that complement these guys. They need a facilitating two-guard. I've been writing for a couple of months now that Evan Turner is high on their list because he is that kind of playmaker who could fit in alongside and start moving the ball a little bit. They need a defensive-minded center, someone like Joakim Noah, who I think would be a terrific fit with that group. They do not need, I know you mentioned this briefly early in the show, Dwight Howard,
I know.
God, no. Under no circumstances. and by the way, Dwight Howard is running as far as humanly possible from James Harden, who wouldn't pass him the ball. Why would Dwight Howard go to New York and play with two guys who won't pass him the ball? That's just not going to happen in New York.
What, McLovin?
Well, you got to remember, Jose Calderon was on that Spanish Olympic team, and the Mannix told us that no one could stop him.
Wow.
So, of course, he thinks it's a blow for the Knicks to lose him.
Wow.
Hey, how's Jacob Pottle doing there, Perloff? You almost got his name a quarter right. Jakob Pottle.
I think, first of all, Spain is stacked.
All right, a few other things.
Go
here.
Team USA.
All right. So Dwight Howard ends up in like Charlotte or Atlanta or Orlando.
Yeah, I don't think. I think the market for Dwight Howard is going to be robust. Now, Dwight's got to figure out, and it's going to take him a few days to a week, that the max-level contract market for him, it just isn't there. But once he realizes that, and the salary demands come down a little bit, there are going to be half dozen to a dozen teams that are really interested in him. You mentioned Charlotte. I've heard mixed things out of there about their interest. Atlanta certainly could be in the mix. The Milwaukee tried to trade for him at the deadline last year. Portland could certainly use a five-man like Howard. There'll be a bunch of teams willing to line up and give Dwight, $15 to $18 million per year in a 4-year deal. I don't think that Dwight is radioactive by any stretch. I think the expectations, Dan, that we have for Dwight and the criticism we heap on Dwight is a little bit unfair for a player of his caliber. No, he's not a carry-a-team type of player anymore, but you put him as a second option or the third option on a team with aspirations to win something, I think he can be extremely effective.
As long as he is comfortable accepting that role of being a second or third, that's been the problem. I think that he still looked at himself as he was a superstar, and he's not. Potential to still be very good, but not a superstar.
There's got to be something in between for Dwight, from the superstar that he once was to the afterthought that he was last year with the Rockets. I mean, I think he attempted like 8.5 shots per game last year. Like, Dwight shouldn't do that. You should be getting him the ball, for 12 to 15 shots per game, something in that neighborhood. If he can accept that range, I think that Dwight could still be a terrific player.
You want to be following The Vertical on Yahoo Sports with Chris Mannix and Adrian Wojnarowski, their draft day coverage, draft night coverage, better than anybody else. Here's our poll question. Ben Simmons will be great, good, average.
I think if you're putting it there, I think he becomes great. I do. I think his talent is. You remember right after the season ended, there was mock drafts out there putting Brandon Ingram first, and I kind of laughed at that because there's a gap, and it's a significant gap in talent between Ben Simmons and Brandon Ingram.
You're down on Ingram, aren't you?
No, I just you look at the size, and I spent some time in upstate New York with him a couple of weeks back, and it's not just the skinny legs, Dan. It's the skinny hips. He's like a size 28 waist, and when you see guys that are skinny with skinny legs, usually they have bigger hips, and that indicates that they can fill out a little bit and get stronger with that lower body. I'm a little concerned about what he looks like. The concerns I have for Ben Simmons are generic, every freshman coming out concerns. I mean, no, he can't shoot, but nobody can shoot when they come out of college, really, except the specialist. I mean, he had some problems with assertiveness last year. I mean, that sounds a lot like what LeBron was in his first couple of years in the NBA. I think those things are very easy to overcome, and I think once he gets to the NBA and works with NBA coaches, he is going to accelerate quickly and become a star very quickly.
All right, rapid fire here. Dirk Nowitzki's next stop is?
Dallas. No question. They'll give him a huge deal, and at some point he's going to become a part owner of that franchise.
Kevin Durant's next stop.
1-year deal, Oklahoma City, ties himself to Russell Westbrook in some ways, but he'll turn down the idea of Golden State, and he'll turn down an aggressive offer from Boston.
Kevin Love's next move.
Somewhere other than Cleveland. I don't know how you end that season and think that Kevin Love is going to be helpful to you in beating Golden State next year. Everything that the Cavs do, Dan, has got to be predicated on how do we beat Golden State. Because you have to think that the Warriors are going to be back next year. If the Warriors are not back, it's Oklahoma City, which has a guy, Serge Ibaka, who can stretch the floor. If they're not back, it's San Antonio. And San Antonio targeted Kevin Love in the 2 regular season games they played against him last season. I think if the Cavaliers can find a deal that nets them some kind of defensive-minded 2-guard or some kind of 3-4 man who can slide between positions in a small lineup, they'll look to make a deal for Kevin Love.
The next stop for LeBron James.
Cleveland, at least for one more year. And I mean, his language is always interesting with how he chooses. He doesn't say, I'm back, baby, and I'm here to stay. He says, I can't see myself going anywhere else. There's always wiggle room with LeBron James, but the summer of 2017 is the most interesting one. He's already got Cleveland the championship. If he gets them another one, and even if he doesn't really, he can say, I got what I wanted to get. I'm going to go somewhere else. And that summer is when Chris Paul is going to be a free agent, and he can find a way to play with Chris Paul, to play with Dwayne Wade, maybe to play with Carmelo too.
The potential for biggest bust tonight is?
Oh, you're going to save this and clip this, and I'm going to get screwed 3 years from now. Biggest bust, I'm going to say Dragon Bender. I just, we keep getting, last year, nobody wanted Kristaps Porzingis. Now, everyone's looking for the next Kristaps Porzingis. And Porzingis and Bender don't share a lot in common. Porzingis is a 5, a defensive player, versatile at 7'3". Bender's good, but I think the expectations on him are way too high. I'm not saying he's Jan Vesely, who was a total disaster, but if he winds up going in the top 5, I think he could be disappointing.
What, McLovin?
It's Dragon Bender, I think.
Hey, have fun tonight.
I'm glad, by the way, Dan, you talked Richard Jefferson out of retiring. I tried to do it in the immediate aftermath of the game the other night. That was insane.
Yeah, it's just a little thing of me giving back to Cleveland. It's not going to show up in the box score, but...
Well, you know what I think, though, Dan? And he shouldn't even go back to Cleveland. Richard Jefferson is, when you look at the salaries this year, guys like Richard Jefferson are going to be signed to 1-year deals that are ridiculous because teams need to make that exorbitant salary cap floor, which is like, $70+ million. So to make that salary cap floor and to preserve their cap space for the big summer of 2017, when LeBron could be out there, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, all these guys, to do that, you've got to sign players like Richard Jefferson. So don't be shocked if some team out there offers RJ like a 1-year, $12.5 million deal.
Thank you, Chris.
You got it, Dan.
That's Chris Mannix, Yahoo's The Vertical. They'll have their NBA draft day and draft night coverage.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.